Welcome back to the Friendsim thingy. And we're gonna not somehow mess up with Vickery, because what? Huh?
The game threw you for a loop with that extra choice option and such.
Yeah, and the choices just seemed completely random.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they were both good endings or something. I mean, that wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense, but I don't know. Right, so we're gonna go out and look for food, because,
Staying here is a bad idea.
yeah.
As I could have told you.
Cause I don't know, man. It just seemed like, I don't know. It's just weird because he's all like, I'm a teddy bear at heart. I can't be all violent and stuff. Blah blah blah. That's him.
It's like, I'm sorry I'm not up to what you need. I'm such a loser.
But it's weird because he's not even a teddy bear deep down inside. He's just a teddy bear in and out. He's like, this is adorable. From your budding chum's words, it sounds like he himself isn't sure if there's any food in the house. Best to wait. So all that happened because he actually didn't even have food.
Maybe.
Anyway, best to risk it and go outside. You tell him your decision.
Top choice, buckaroo. Foraging is how I while away most of my time, after all. There's just one small matter to trouble the old brain power. If we're venturing out into the unknown yonder, we should obtain some chew for my Lucius as well.
Some chew?
Some chow. Shut the hell up.
Oh yeah, what is your Lucius?
He'll be a real grumpy Gustav if he goes too long without his nosh.
You draw yourself out proudly. It's taken a lot of bizarre run-ins and narrowing close shaves, but you know all about Lucius's. You're inquire about Gustav, was it?
Ho ho, what a card you are. No, my Lucius. I'd call him the Canary.
Ooh. He whips out a photo. It shows a smaller version of himself, his horns nothing but stubs, a far too big pair of aviator goggles slipping off his nose. Standing behind him is a large white fowl, big scraggly wings folded back against its body. You want to say an emu? Whatever. It is an emu! Oh my gosh. Okay, so he had to have some kind of... Okay, like, I was headcanoning he was gonna have a bird that was actually injured, but I also saw people who were like, he's gonna have some kind of flightless bird, Lucius.
They can fly.
Anyway. Whatever it is, it's definitely not a canary. Its beak touches the top of your pal's head with something that might count as affection.
He's not a persnickety sort. All kinds of bugs and leaves will tickle his fancy. Shall we away? Shall we greet the horizon that rushes forward to meet us with astounding grace? Shall we give ourselves over to the current of time's great river?
Okay. Sure, you tell him. You can leave the house. It's getting a lot easier to pay attention to only the words this guy says that actually make sense. You kind of enjoy this way of speaking, though. If nothing else, it gives you the feeling that he's really excited about this food quest you're going on together. Woo! Your alien pal leads you back down through the pulley system and outside again. The trip is not so easy on your bruised ribs. The thing about walking is, when you walk, your body moves. You've had better times, is all you're saying. You indicate as much to your companion.
Oh boy, I hear ya. Moving while attached to alternative surface is the worst kind of hooey.
Oh,
The moment when autonomous flight is invented trembles ever closer to the present. Can you hear it approach? The wail of a distant klaxon. The call to adventure. It beckons us forward. Through the years, a golden thread stretching ever onward into that glorious inevitability.
That's not what you meant, but his excitement cheers you up a little. Maybe you will feel better in the future when someone invents flight on this planet. Certainly by that time you'll either either you'll be... Certainly by that time, you'll either be further along in your healing or dead. Either way, thinking about the future brings a little rosy glow to your heart. You ask your buddy where you're going next.
The world is our bivalvular sea critter.
Oyster?
Yes. We'll go wherever the wind calls our names.
Great.
But if it's a short-term answer you're inquiring after,
Yeah.
there's a specific plant the canary likes to eat. It's got white petals and leaves as red as a troll's most lurid desires.
Huh.
Could you give a holler if your bulbs fall on something of that persuasion?
White petals and leaves. Are you talking about like holly or whatever it's called, mistletoe or whatever? Or like, white leaves. No, it's white petals. White petals, okay, white petals and leaves as red. Okay, what do you...
White petals, red leaves, yes.
So, a flower? I don't know. You agree to keep an eye out. You continue trudging along beside him, wincing whenever your steps jolt your injuries. Maybe a little conversation will help distract you. You ask your new friend what got him so interested in flying in the first place.
What could be better? Up there, free of worldly concerns. The wind in your face and the horizon at your back. Seeing the continent spread out below you. Finally feeling that your personal aesthetic is appropriate for the given circumstances.
What? You show over this one for a minute or two. It seems like what really makes this guy tick is the travel and adventure thing. Or maybe that's just what you're getting from his general demeanor and pretty much everything he said up until now. You're nervous to bring up anything that might make him dislike you, but in the interest of bonding, you forge ahead. Aren't there, you say with apprehension, maybe some similarities between flying and space travel? Like maybe being in a spaceship could satisfy some of these urges?
What? There may be some superficial similarities to trick the common troll. But in essence, the blood pusher and soul of each, as different as night and day. As a mountain and a ditch. As a star and a mud puddle. Don't get a fellow wrong, space travel is fine. Well, it's the only way to satisfy our bloodthirsty and nearly immortal overlords. And I look forward to such a time when I can be of service. In the eternal millstone grind of intergalactic conquest. But it's missing the punch, the pizzazz, the kaboom! the trunk beast honk of it all.
The elephant noise? What? Just as you feared, you've stepped in it now. You're struggling for a response when out of the corner of your eye you spot a cluster of white flowers. Relieved, you point them out to your companion, who races over to gather them. When he holds one up, you can see it has blue leaves, not red. Your shoulders droop. Seems like all you're doing is disappointing your buddy who has been so nice to you, or at least that's what you think you've read between the lines of his confusing speaking style.
Fear not, my smooth-headed compatriot. These are not the luscious rations we sought. But this plant is people chow.
What? Really?
What I mean to say is, we can eat it.
Huh.
Since we are people, it's food for people, not food made of people. To be clear.
He comes back with a fistful of the flowers and hands you one of the blue leaves. You're not all that sure that food... You're not at all sure that food that's safe for your buddy will be safe for you as well, but at this point you don't have much to lose. Besides, with the way your stomach is groaning, it might as well be perfectly seared steak. You put it in your mouth. Chewing on the leaf, you feel even more affectionate towards the guy than before. You were worried this trip was just turning into an excuse for him to run some kind of household errand, but he really did find you something to eat. You are desperate to find some way to show him that you understand his interests. You want to connect with him on a deep soul level. Anything to get him to look at you with that treasured glow of friendship in his eyes. Whenever he mentions space travel, he talks about how it's something that he has to do, some kind of necessary obligation. So maybe there's a reason he's fixated on an activity that's kind of similar, but just a little different. Maybe he doesn't want to do the required thing, the space conquests, but doesn't have it in him to rebel entirely all the way. Maybe airplane flight, or whatever similar thing he's envisioning, is a compromise between what he has to do and what he wants to do. A balance, like all must find in order to live as an individual in a society that shapes one's desires from birth. You cautiously open your mouth. Heart-pounding, you venture to ask if your pal if he maybe would rather not satisfy the demands of the bloodthirsty overlords. If maybe a part of him wants to get into his flying machine and, well, leave. For real.
That's...
He seems taken aback. Maybe you should never have said it. What a huge mistake. You've probably pushed his friendship out of your reach for good now. Panicking, you point to the side, yelling that you see a big field of white flowers in that direction. Your potential friend leaps to action, seemingly also glad to be given a reason not to answer this question. He races forward in the direction you indicated. In a matter of seconds, there's a yelp and your new acquaintance vanishes. Instantly, you realize your error. You didn't look where you were going. While walking, you unwittingly came close to the edge of a large cliff, which your companion had now disappeared over. You race to the side, your stomach flooding with fear. This is absolutely the opposite of what you wanted. You look down in horror. Your new friend now looks approximately how you felt when you first crash-landed on this dark planet. He's conscious, his face frozen in shock, but one leg is twisted underneath him in a nasty way. You may not be familiar with his alien anatomy, but you're almost positive that shouldn't look like that. You call out to him in distress, sure he's going to castigate you for your mistake. The strangeness of his language won't make it hurt any less to lose this guy's trust forever.
What ho?
The speech roll is like half under the thing.
Kaloo.
His voice floats up from the ground below, weak but somewhat jovial. Is it possible he's not angry?
Oh, joyous happening! Oh, delight for the body and spirit! Did you see? Did your being absorb what has occurred before your very visage?
We found the flowers? You flew? Something?
I flew!
Did you?
Soared through the air! Just for a moment, but it happened.
I think you just fell with style. Get it?
Because Hercules.
No, Toy Story.
An ecstasy like none I have ever known.
You hesitate. Is it really possible that he could be taking this so well? Maybe your big fuck up was a step in the right direction after all? It's definitely a little worrying to hear him celebrate a dangerous fall, but none of that matters if you can secure his friendship at least. Wait, was it least? At last.
My strange associate. Come on down here. We will celebrate in grand fashion this eve. How did you know that a brief sojourn through the unfettered air would bring me such joy? You're a fine fellow. And a truly superb friend.
Aw. Your heart lips with joy. He said it! Of course, you now have to find some way to climb down a cliff with your messed up ribs, not to mention figuring out how to transport someone with a broken leg back to the house. You're not really sure if that's possible or when the adrenaline that's got you this far will give out and force you to succumb to your own pain. With a night full of difficulties ahead of you, you couldn't ask for a better balm than knowing you'll face them hand in hand with your friend. Assuming he didn't hurt his hands as well. No matter, you did it!
Huzzah! God, this is stupid.
I wonder if this is supposed to be like a reference to what's his face? Tavros. Cause wait a minute. Vickery needs to fly because what's his face? He has the wings. Because Tavros couldn't even walk, and you don't even know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about...
Is his horn broken?
Yes. You're talking about the guy who got locked in a fridge.
No. Not even remotely.
Yeah?
Not the fridge person. The fridge person was totally gay for this character, but no, this is not the... Anyway, finally got through all of that, and you already know this, but I'm gonna schedule these, and this... Why am I even mentioning this in the past when you're gonna see this in the future? The present, and... Yeah. To see you guys next time. He walked over that and... Dude, stop it.